Hello, I'm John Gray. I'm the owner of F.I. Gray & Son Commercial Realtor in Newport Richey. The company's been here since 1924. I was born and raised in Newport Richey. My initial knee problem happened from playing adult men's basketball and softball and all the activities I did that was a very outdoor person and athletic, and I hurt my knee pretty bad. This was probably around 1970, and I had it operated on at a hospital south of here, and it was a pretty extensive operation, and actually never really felt good after that, and I put up with pain for years and years. I started going to Dr. Hanff Sr., and he gave me all the treatments he could give me, and he told me, he said, you know, sooner or later you're going to have this knee replaced. I can't patch it anymore. So I told him, fine, I want to have it done. And he said, well, I'm not doing surgery anymore, but he says, one of the other people we have here in the office is going to have to do it for you now. And I said, okay. And I had heard about Dr. Cook and her education background, and I'd seen her work from other friends, and I just said, okay, I'll go to Dr. Cook and talk to her. So I did, and boom, 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 I had the operation. She put a new knee in, and thank goodness, because it was killing me to play golf, which I love to do, and it was killing me to go hunting, which I love to do, and hiking, walking, anything. It was just bone on bone. It was miserable before. And now I can do all that, and even though I'm a lot older, I can still enjoy doing these things without pain. That was the best part of the whole thing, is I'm finally without pain. So if anybody's having problems like this, don't wait as long as I did. Get it taken care of as soon as you can, because the younger you are, the easier it is to get it fixed and the easier it is to recuperate. The treatment that I got from Dr. Cook was not only technically tremendous, I think, but also was wonderful bedside manner. She was compassionate, certainly knowledgeable, and the job was great. But I think a big part of when you get something done like this is knowing that the person that's operating on you is highly qualified and also caring and compassionate and concerned about your surgery and your recovery. And so that was a big help to me.
Hi, I'm Keith Dunn. Happy to talk about Jen Cook and what a great job she's been doing keeping me out on the golf course, on the tennis courts, and able to exercise virtually every single day of my life. I've known Jen and had the good fortune of knowing her since she first came to town and started working with Hanff, Stephen's father, which most people in the community know is now retired, one of the top orthopedists ever to be in Pasco. Jen has been a godsend to this community and also to myself. I regularly am having issues due to not being a professional golfer or a professional tennis player and injuring myself. And when I have problems, I know that I can go see Jen and she can figure out what's wrong and get me back on the golf course or on the tennis courts and back in the gym as quickly as humanly possible. Like I said, I'm 64. I try to stay in very good shape. I can do things today that most people, I would tell you, that are in their 40s probably couldn't do. And a lot of this is due to the fact of Jen and also her entire team of orthopedists and what they can do for me and what they have. As a side note, there's been multiple times where I have gone to Jen's rehab facility, and truly they have worked wonders in helping getting me back to the active lifestyle that I enjoy. So I can't speak highly enough of what Jen and her team has been able to do for me.
Hello, my name is Jim McNeil. I live in Trinity, Florida, and Dr. Hanff from the Florida Joint Care Institute at 2165 Little Road, Trinity, Florida, operated on me and did both knees the same day. And here's a little bit about how it works. I saw Dr. Hanff a year and a half earlier, and my doctor sent me to him because one day I was walking upstairs and my right leg almost disappeared, like it wasn't there. So I went to my doctor. They shot me with cortisone, but it only lasted like a week, 10 days. And then I said to him, better go see an orthopedic. So they sent me to Dr. Hanff, and he, in 15 minutes, he can tell you where you are. And he said, they're gone, but I can shoot them with cortisone, maybe get you a year, max a year and a half, which he did. And it lasted about a year and a half, but then it was time. The doc told me he's doing both knees, and it takes about 45 minutes a knee to do a full replacement. Okay, so 90 minutes later, I'm back in my room, okay? Now, when you're in your room, here's a little tip. When you wake up, they have compression, 2 of them, on your feet, like one in the front, one on the side, and it squeezes you constantly, and for me, it was on both feet. But if you read all the paperwork that they give you, things to help you get better, move your feet. So when I woke up, first thing I was doing was shaking them feet, moving them feet, stretching feet. Those things they got on, they're not going to fall off. Then you're going to need to move your arms, stretch, ask for water, breathe deeply, and in a couple of minutes, all your blood pressure, your numbers are going to be excellent, and then they can pull all them wires off you, and now you're in pretty good shape. But continue with drinking water, because you got to pee, and deep breathing, and keep moving your feet for as long as you can. It's not tiring, it's good, and what it's doing is getting that circulation back in those legs. Now, you're in no pain, and as far as you were operated on, you don't even know it. You're out cold, there's no after effects, nothing in your throat. It's really light anesthesia. Then, 2 hours later, it's time to go for a walk. When I went for the walk, first thing I noticed when I stood up, those legs were straight as an arrow. So I said, let's go. And it's a nice, pretty good sized walk. And I said to him, geez, could we keep going? Because it felt good. The first big question about a hospital is the food, because you don't know anything about the operation anyway. And the food is not by a cook, it's by a chef. And the orthopedics, like Dr. Hanff, your last meal, they give you anything you want. Like I ordered filet mignon, mashed potatoes with garlic, vegetables, and then chocolate layer cake for dessert. Anything you want, and it'll be like the best restaurant you ever had. So the food, don't worry about that. The next morning, after I did my walk and they checked me out, I'm home. I didn't really do a lot of icing. I didn't have much swelling at all. So that depends on, the hospital, they did some icing. And then when I went to the rehab, which is the second floor of Dr. Hanff's office, that's unbelievable. The first day, they iced it as they were exercising it, but I never did it at home. Then, here's where it gets good. With these knees with Dr. Hanff, you don't get a little bit better. You'll notice you're getting better every day, okay? About the 10th to the 14th day, you're driving, and I was cutting the lawn, okay? And, you know, doctors, whatever feels good, do it. And my thing was, I told neighbors, don't help me. And they were now freaking out and now I'm cutting the lawn. Still no pain. When you get to the 35 to 40 days, I was trimming trees in my backyard 30 feet up, okay? And the neighbors were really freaking out with that. So now, after 4 months, I promised a buddy of mine I would help him do this 6-story brand new Hilton hotel on 54 and 75. And I did all the fine woodwork, doors, door closers, panic buttons, trim. In that building, I had to carry, the elevators don't work till you're done, you know, at the end. So I had to carry my tools up 12 flights of stairs, probably 4 or 5 times a day. And I never had a bit of problem. And the younger guys were having trouble doing that. So that's how good these knees are. Okay, now, here's one big thing, and I was telling the doc at my last and only visit to say goodbye. When you're in the shower, you know, you can lean on a wall. Look how far up you can bring your legs to clean the bottom of your feet. That's nice. Couldn't do that with the originals. Then, nobody can do this. After you're, I could do this all along with knee pads and stuff, but look at this now with carpet. And they tell you can't kneel. You can kneel good, okay? So this is, and then it's a big deal on, see this degree? That's what they check for when they're rehabbing you, and the doc, when you go for a physical, he's looking what that range is, and mine's beyond what you need. Go see him, 15 minutes, he'll tell you what you need, okay? That's how efficient that place is, and he'll tell you how to fix it. So if you need a full knee or partial or tune-up, and every day they're coming out, like I noticed this week on the news, they're coming out with these pieces of like spring-loaded pistons to give you more mileage before you do a full knee replacement. These are beautiful. I'd get it done. Why buy another 2 years? You know, maybe it's, what they're saying is I might buy another 2, 3, 4. You know what? Go for, this is unbelievable. These were beautiful.
Hi, my name is Susan Davis, and I don't usually do this type of thing, but I had such good results with Dr. Hanff, and it changed my life so much that if I can give somebody peace of mind that he's very, very good. I had a total right hip replacement. I'm 66 years old, and during the last few years, the pain that I had was on and off, and then it became all the time. And I slowed down and I slowed down. I gained weight, and it changed the whole quality of my life. After he did surgery, he has a physical therapy right on site, and that helped me get strong again. Within 6 months, I was hiking. Yesterday, I did a 20-mile bike ride. I'm very, very active now, and I have no problem with my hip. What brought me to Dr. Hanff is I heard he was a really good surgeon, and this was a major surgery because it would affect my ambulation. I realized after getting so out of shape that if I didn't keep up my physical strength, I would be no good to my children and my grandchildren. And now it's been a whole change of life for me. And I forget that I have a hip replacement. I can't feel it, so I forget it. And it's been life-changing. And last time I came to see him, I said, you should use me because I love, you know, everything was so perfect. I was walking within a day, and the treatment afterwards was really key also. So if you're having pain in your hip, don't wait like my mother till she was in a wheelchair, but go to Dr. Hanff. There's no reason any of us have to have pain if there's really good treatment and therapy, and Dr. Hanff is excellent.
When I turned 60, I had been told by many friends that stay tuned, things will happen. About 4 months into being 60 years old, I simply squatted down and tore my meniscus. Fortunately, I've known Stephen Hanff since he was a child because I've known his dad and used his father as my orthopedist for many, many years. So I went to Stephen. He was able to repair my meniscus so I didn't lose it all. And within a matter of a month or so, I was able to be back on the tennis court, on the golf course, and daily going to the gym. I will tell you that I went to their physical therapy on a very regular basis until I was discharged. I can't say how important it is to listen to the doctors when they ask you nicely to go use their PT department. They're the best in the area. But the combination of Stephen's great work and the great work of the physical therapy department got a 60-year-old back onto the lifestyle, the active lifestyle that I like to lead. And I'm very appreciative to the entire staff of Florida Joint Care.
Hi, my name is Carol, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about my journey with hip pain and leg pain over the last 4 years, I would say, ending up eventually having bilateral hip surgery with Dr. Hanff. My journey started about 4 years ago when I was traveling back and forth to Raleigh, North Carolina to help my sister take care of my ill father. And I noticed that the pain was getting worse by the week at that point. I wasn't able to step up on a curb without pain. I wasn't able to stand up or sit down easily out of a chair, and I just started noticing many changes. So that lasted for a couple of years until about a year ago in December, when I came home and could not longer walk without a cane or a walker, and started to limp pretty badly. So it was at that time that I had talked with my injection doctor. I had been working with him after working with a chiropractor and having deep tissue massage to see if injections would help me any at all. So they didn't work out. So we sat down and researched hip doctors and fortunately found Dr. Hanff. So during this time of pain, I was not sure where this was stemming from. My mother had been riddled with osteoarthritis a lot of her life, so I was assuming that it was coming from this. I did see a chiropractor, a rheumatologist, several surgeons to take x-rays and do tests to determine where the pain was stemming from. In the end, it was determined that it was related to my hips. So once I determined which surgeon I wanted to approach to have final x-rays done, I went to Dr. Hanff, who I was very pleased with, and they did x-rays and determined that both of my hips were in very bad shape. It was recommended that I could have one surgery at a time, but that would have been 3 or 4 months of healing and then going back into a second surgery right away. Dr. Hanff had recommended to me that I would be a great candidate for bilateral hip surgery, which means they're doing both hips at the same time. I did question this a little bit and had to think about it a bit, but when I did, I realized that that was the way to go for me. It would shorten the time of PT and healing, so that was my final decision. So my surgery itself went very well, and I was very pleased with everyone at Trinity Hospital, which helped me. The staff was wonderful, and I stayed 3 days, and they didn't push me out. I was able to stay until I felt like I was able to go home. I had the surgery middle of the afternoon, and I was up and walking the next day, which was a miracle to me after having such a difficult time for so long. I was on minimal pain medication during that time. I came home and had home health therapy for 2 weeks, and then had outpatient therapy at Dr. Hanff's office upstairs, which was very successful. Everyone was great and very encouraging. I should say that not everyone is a good candidate for bilateral hip surgery. It depends on your general health and your weight and how bad the hips really are. My one right hip, which I was limping on, was not getting blood flow at all at the time, and so that was very dangerous. So in the end, because of my age and my weight and my good physical health in all, we decided to go ahead with the bilateral hip. One of the more positive experiences that I was very fortunate to have along the way was one day Dr. Hanff's office called me and asked me if I would be willing to talk to someone who was considering bilateral hip surgery. I was so excited and very happy to do this for them. I was very happy with Dr. Hanff's expertise in the hip surgery. That's what I was looking for. I knew all the questions that I had leading up to surgery, so I thought I could be helpful to someone else. The office was wonderful at preparing me and answering a lot of questions, but there's really nobody like somebody who's been through this themselves to give you answers and tell you their genuine experience. So that was a blessing to me to be able to pay it forward to someone else, and we became friends and saw each other throughout the whole process for her, which was several months, and I was just thrilled to be able to do it for her. So in closing, I think I would say that Dr. Hanff is not only an excellent surgeon, extremely talented in what he does. He's certainly been given many gifts and knows how to use them well. He's also extremely compassionate and a very good listener, which was very important to me. The whole office staff was wonderful, giving me much encouragement, answering my questions along the way, refilling my pain meds when needed, and just was a pleasant atmosphere every time I went over. So you can see now that well, you can't see now, but I am able to swim and to walk again and to take yoga lessons, and I'm back to resuming my life as I knew it quite a few years ago. I would highly recommend Dr. Hanff and his staff, and if you have any questions regarding surgery, if you're just contemplating it, just because you make a visit to their office and have a consultation does not mean that you must have surgery. That was explained to me the very first time I went, and I took my time in making my decision. But if you have any questions or feel like you would like to talk to someone who's been through this and make you a little less anxious than I was going through the procedure, please don't hesitate to ask the office or ask Dr. Hanff to help you with this.
Walsh. We're living in Florida 45 years. I had a fall in New York about 10, 15 years ago, and everything seemed all right, but it wasn't. And 6 years ago, I had my knees done, and I should have right away after that had my shoulders done, but I procrastinated and waited a while. And then a year ago, I had both shoulders. I had 2 shoulder full replacements, and it was the best thing I ever did. I should have done it much sooner, because 2 days later, I kept saying, oh my gosh, I should have done this sooner. It was wonderful. I had no more pain anymore. It was wonderful. I think what held me back from doing anything was the fact I'd speak to people and they say, oh, I couldn't do this after I had my shoulder done or my arm done, or I'm thinking, and my hands, I'm thinking, oh, I don't want to get into that. I at least can use everything, even though it hurt. But then by the time I was taking Tylenol 3 times a day and it wasn't so funny anymore, I decided to have something done. It was the best thing. I should have done it years before. My husband heard of Dr. Donovan through somebody he worked with. I had to have my knees done years ago, and it turned out my daughter-in-law went to grade school with Dr. Hanff, and so we kind of felt like, oh, gee, we knew somebody. You know, it makes you feel better. And then when I was having my arms done, I had spoke to Dr. Hanff, and he said, I said, who would you get? And he said, I would definitely get Dr. Donovan. And he was a blessing. He was so nice and so compassionate and so friendly. And then my husband had his arm done after I did, so he was, but he only needed one, so we both did really well. I don't think there's anything I'm not able to do right now. I can reach further, and I can reach behind me and everything. I can lift things, it's wonderful. And I couldn't do any of that. I couldn't, you know, to lift something of any distance was a chore. Putting dishes in the closet was even a chore. If I had more than 2 or 3, you know, it was really hard. I feel great. I'm sorry I didn't have it done sooner because I wasted all that time, all those years, and I you know, feel so much better. It's wonderful. I have no pain whatsoever. If somebody else is in this position and they're thinking about having it done and then hesitating, and I would tell them, don't even bother hesitating. Just like I told my husband, go get it done, because you'll feel like a different person afterwards. You'll feel, oh my God, I'm back to normal again. And it's a wonderful way to feel after not feeling good for so long.
I am Sandy Duvall, and I am here to give a testimony regarding Dr. Aaron Mates and his wonderful performance to me. I have had 3 surgeries by Dr. Mates within 9 months. My problem started, it is now 5 years, and I first fell down an escalator in Indianapolis, Indiana, injuring my right ankle, and that was about 5 years ago. And then this last surgery that I had this past July was a result of another injury where I fell down the escalator and injured my left ankle. Finally, with an MRI, it showed that I did have a fracture, but others told me that I did not have a fracture, that there wasn't anything wrong with the ankle, until Dr. Mates came on staff, and he took me into surgery. I not only had a fracture, I had numerous fractures. The ankle was crushed. I had, the ligament was no longer there. I had a torn tendon, and Dr. Mates did a procedure, which is a new procedure, and where he injected this gel, and it basically made a new bone. Everything that he told me about the surgery was true. I had the recovery. When I was recovering, he sent me through physical therapy, and the ankle today I'm doing very, very well. I also had knee surgery by Dr. Mates. I asked specifically for him because he knew my history, and again, the knee showed that I had gout, torn meniscus, and in the meantime, my left ankle was continuing to get progressively worse, and Dr. Mates informed me that before he would do another surgery on me, he highly suspected that I had an immune disorder that was causing all these fractures, and he wanted me to be tested and to see what was going on. And I went to numerous specialists and did find out that I have 4 autoimmune disorders, and because of my past history, I was on a lot of prednisone, and the prednisone also has caused a lot of fractures. And so I have to be very careful about taking prednisone anymore. And since the last surgery this past July, I'm doing very well. I don't really need to use a cane, but for my own safety, I do take it with me when I go out, but I am doing very, very well. He's just a wonderful doctor. He will not do surgery unless it's absolutely necessary, and I truly convinced him that it was necessary. I'm very glad that all has turned out the way it has. No comparison, no comparison. The minute that I met this man, and I said, "Can you help me?" And he says, "I'm certainly going to try." And yes, I think I can. Those were the best words that I had heard. And I know the thoughts that they are thinking, and it's not you. It's, first of all, people are out there that are not listening to you. As a doctor, this doctor that I have had do 3 surgeries on me, he listens to you. He does understand your pain, and he will do something about it. He doesn't first take you into surgery and say, He will find the cause first, because he will never do surgery without first knowing this is what it is. He listened to me. I have been going through this for, well, it's been longer than 5 years, because I've had bilateral shoulder surgery, I've had bilateral thumb surgeries, I have thumb implants. There's not a place on my body that I have not had surgery. This is not only a doctor, but a man that will listen to you and to what you have to say, and he does understand, and he will help you. I advised a 90-year-old friend of mine to go to him because she was told there was nothing wrong with her ankle. And yes, there was. By the time that she went to see Dr. Mates, he had her going for the MRI. He saw the MRI. She did have to have surgery, and this woman is doing incredibly well for 91 years old. And she thanks God every day for Dr. Mates, the same as I do. God truly has blessed us by putting him in our lives.
Okay, good morning. My name is Jim Roberts, and I'm here to talk about Dr. Mates. Before I start telling you my little story about my life and Dr. Mates and how I met him, I just want to say that the whole organization affiliated with Dr. Mates, the surgery department, the hospital, the people at the hospital, all the people affiliated with him are wonderful. So let me tell you about Dr. Mates now. When I was about 15, I broke my ankle really badly. And at that time, it was 56 years ago, there wasn't the technology that there is now, and they put the pieces back together the best they could, but it wound up where I was walking on the side of my foot, and I would not really walk. I would step and roll and step and roll. You know, basically I was a mild crippled. I mean, every step hurt. Step, and when I got the pressure on that instep there, and to give you an idea of what it was, my heel was actually up in the air, and I walked on the edge of my foot. So I did that for 56 years, and along the way, a few times when I had good insurance, I went to supposedly the best orthopedic, it wasn't an ankle specialist at the time, doctor, and asked if I could get that fixed, and I did that, I think, 3 times in the course of 56 years, went to somebody and tried to get it fixed, and nobody wanted to tackle it. It was like, there's not much we can do for it. So I lived with that thing for 56 years. Every step of my life hurt. And that's another reason why I'm doing this, you know, because I like Dr. Mates, but also anybody out there listening to this, if you got a severe ankle problem, Dr. Mates thinks out of the box. he can do things that other doctors cannot do. And I can tell you right now, I've tried all these years to get this fixed, and he was the first one who would tackle it. So I'll get back to where I was. I went to see Dr. Mates. I found him on the internet because I just couldn't walk anymore. I mean, 72 years old, all that walking on that thing like that, it just wouldn't hold weight anymore. And I just was starting to have to use a cane and walk around. And I'm 72, I'm very healthy, I took good care of myself. I love golfing, I love fishing, I love doing stuff. And I basically was going to be regulated to crutches or walking stuff. So I got on the internet because I just didn't want to give up, even though I had been told it couldn't be fixed. But that's just how I am. I just don't give up. So I got on the internet, I found Dr. Mates. It was quite a drive from where I lived, but I found out that he took my insurance, which I don't have the best insurance in the world. It's Medicare, nothing special, but he made it all work. I only had a few little co-pays. I mean, he made everything work, and that's why I was telling you about the organization around him. The whole package is tied in with him because they just make things work. The insurance, scheduling you for this, you get there, they're ready for you. The day you go to the hospital, everything's all taken care of. You go in, you give them a little number, and they take you back there and they treat you like you're a damn king. And here you got Medicare, okay? He made it all happen for me, and he told me at the beginning he would, and he did. So when I first went to see him, I got an appointment because I got him on the internet. So I first went to see him with my crooked old foot and told him my story, and right away I could see that he had compassion on me for what I have lived with. So he took an interest in me. I could tell he would take an interest in anybody, not just me, but he just did. And half an hour after he looked at x-rays and stuff, he said, "I could fix that, Jim." And he said, and it was like, you know, after suffering all these years with that, to hear those words, it was just very emotional. So 3 weeks later, he sent me to the surgery department. 3 weeks later, I had surgery. The doctor took and cut all that broken stuff out of there. The ankle and all the broken bones from that severe accident I had, and he twisted my foot around to where it's supposed to be, which I'll show you later, my matching 2 feet. And he swung it around to where it's supposed to be, and he put a rod up through my leg, and he put screws in to hold it there till it healed. And so I came home and I had my foot up for 4 or 5 months like that, and I did my part and he did his part. When that thing healed, I'll show you after when I stand up, when that thing healed, I had a real foot. And at first, to tell you, at first when something like that happens, it's just a dead limb on there, and you think, I am never gonna get the hang of using that thing. I mean, I'm talking to you people out there that have severe ankle injuries. You know, that's all I can talk for. But I can talk for one other thing. I'll get back to that. All the visits I've been in that waiting room, waiting for my turn to go in and see him over those 6 months, I've talked to so many people who were patients of Dr. Mates and waiting for him. I see him come in and I see him with their legs up, and I right away strike up a conversation with him because I got a neat story. And I talk so many people with these traumatic injuries, with these simple injuries. They were all in there, and Dr. Mates was helping them all. That man to me is a special person who can take and just change one life after another. It's a special thing that he has, and he does it with such grace and caring. so nice that nobody along the whole way could say one negative thing about this man. So he's not my brother, he's not my son. I'm not saying all these things because he's a relative. I'm telling you the truth. If you got an ankle problem, especially if you got one that you don't think can be fixed, if you've been suffering with it, your age is scaring you, whatever, Dr. Mates will make it happen. For me, I felt as though I had no quality of life. Like, to me, sitting around the house eating, watching TV all the time, like, I like doing them things, but I like to be doing other stuff too, not just that. And now I have my life back. You know, I would have stayed living, but now I have a quality of life. I can walk, I can play golf, and I got a beautiful collection of sneakers, and I never in my life could wear sneakers because I had to wear these special boots that came up around my ankle and locked it all in so I could do my little drag. And now I got all these beautiful sneakers that I wear, and even now sometimes I sit there at night and I look at my feet and I just can't believe what I'm looking at. So that's why I'm doing this video. Dr. Mates, he's my hero. He always will be. He gave me another maybe 10, 15 years of quality life. I'm doing really well. Dr. Mates got me on these rocker bottom shoes, and I got a nice collection of them. They come in real nice things. I play golf. 2 weeks ago, I played 36 holes at golf and never even thought about my foot all day long. It's like when I'm on the golf course now, and I just waiting for my shot, and I just think, I can't believe this. I cannot believe, because before I'd be going up to the green like this, you know, and when I had to wear these big stupid boots golfing in front of my friends. Now I'm always sticking my foot out to these guys, and they're all so happy for me that I got it fixed. So I mean, it's the whole package. So good luck. I hope you have the same experience that I have with Dr. Mates and all his people. Thank you. You can see that I'll be able to go on and enjoy my life being able to move around like this. To show you a little bit how I used to walk like this. So now to be able to stand here like a man and put my shoulders back and walk like that, it just means so much to me.
My name is Ken Grip, and I'm 70 years old. I live right here in Trinity, Florida, and I had foot issues for the better part of 4 years before I had the surgery done. And I had gone through the typical cortisone shot routine, and I had gone through physical therapy with different types of therapists to try to get it in a positive situation. However, the pain was insurmountable, and I literally couldn't do my daily functions, walk upstairs, walk downstairs, get up and down from a chair. The pain at night was incredible. It was very painful. I'd wake up at night in a sweat, and it was really bad. And one evening I fell down and I had to go to the hospital, to the emergency room, and they sent me to a bone specialist. And it was at that point that they said, boy, your foot is pretty bad. We do this type of surgery, but we can't do it at the level that you need done. And they recommended Dr. Mates to me. At that point, I went back to my general doctor, who I had to get authorization from, and he passed the authorization, and my insurance company stepped in and said, well, we'll only let you use one doctor in Central Florida, and again, it was Dr. Mates, so everything worked out really well. So I came in and met with him, and then Dr. Mates sent me over for a complete MRI on the foot, and came back and he said, well, you're right, it's a mess. And I had a lot of arthritis, an awful lot of arthritis in there, and my foot actually at that point was about 90 degrees perpendicular to my left foot. The only way I could walk pain-free is this foot was literally 90 degrees out to the side like this, and that's how I walked. I looked like a penguin, and And matter of fact, it was embarrassing, and my grandson said to me one time, "Why do you wobble when you walk?" And that's what 5-year-old kids do, they're honest. It can be embarrassing when you can't get up off the floor, or you meet somebody in the yard that you know, and you can't stand up for more than a minute, and you gotta excuse yourself. You go to family affairs. I mean, I looked like I was handicapped, and not that that's a bad thing, because but it's not where I wanted to be at that point in my life. Dr. Mates was great. He told me about the different types of surgeries that they do, and I was a golfer and I was outside doing yard work, and which I couldn't do any of that anymore. And he suggested the surgery that I had. And before he would do that, he had me bring in my sons to explain to them what their role would be, because you are pretty out of circulation for probably 3 months. I had the surgery. I was in the hospital for about a week. Then I had to go, because I live by myself, I had to go to a rehab center where I stayed for about 3 weeks. And then I got home, and my sons had to go to the grocery store for me and do that kind of stuff and take my dog. They came out in shifts and took my dog out because I couldn't go up and down the stairs to get in and out of the house. But I had this little scooter thing. It was like a little tricycle, and you put your knee on it and your foot's in the back, and you can motor around pretty fast, and I'm pretty self-sufficient, so it worked out really well. And the procedure is pretty intense. However, you come into the doctor's every 2 weeks, and the first you get a cast on, they take it off, you put one back on, and we did that 4 times. And before you knew it, it was over. And the honest truth is, since the day that I had the surgery done, I haven't had 1 ounce of pain. I have full range of motion, forward going. I'm back playing golf, 18 holes, not a problem. Cut my grass, do the weed whacking and all that, and probably turned my life around. Probably the best experience I've had in the last, to get my life back. Now I'm right back to perfect alignment, and my gait is perfect. And the other thing that was kind of amazing is when you walk like this for a period of time, I started having trouble with my left knee. And I said to Dr. Mates, they in the MRI, I don't have much cartilage or anything left in my knees. They're both down bone on bone. And he said, you'll be amazed when you get the foot back to normal, that pain should go away. Prior to the surgery, I had, for the better part of 2.5 to 3 years, extensive pain in my foot. I couldn't walk a normal gait. I had a foot turned out, walked with a limp. I had given up golf. I had given up any outside activities, cutting my lawn. I used to, for some reason, cut firewood for my neighbor, and I couldn't do any of that. And I had to get one of those little rider carts at the grocery store because I couldn't stand and couldn't walk. I couldn't go to my granddaughter's gymnastics events. I couldn't go to my grandson's Little League games. And I had trouble getting up and down from a chair. I had trouble, I couldn't get off the floor if I was on the floor playing a game with my grandson or granddaughter. And it was, and the pain, if I could explain it just so you'd understand, I couldn't take my foot off the gas pedal and put it on the brake. It would feel as if somebody literally had a knife and was sticking it in my foot. And then it would go away as fast as it came. But you never knew when it was going to come. And it was terrible. I kind of lost my lust to live, so to speak. So it got to the point where after the surgery, I said to Dr. Mates, the only regret I have is that I didn't do it 3 years ago. Playing with the grandkids all the time. I can play catch in the backyard. My grandson goes golfing with me, and I go to my granddaughter's gymnastics meets and stand up and cheer like everybody else. It's great. So my daily routine is back to normal. As far as if you're debating whether to do it or not, I had cataract surgery about 3 years ago, and I never talked to anybody who had done it. And I dreaded it because my mental picture of it was somebody taking your eye apart, putting in some binocular or something. And when I went through it, it was so easy and so effortless that I said to them after, why did you make it sound like it was going to be so bad? And they said, well, we just want you to be prepared. And I said, well, I was prepared for the worst, and this was like so easy. It was like I wasted my time worrying. The same with this. It's not an easy thing to go through. It's a commitment, not only for you, but for your family, if they're close, to help you get through it. But there's no pain. The follow-up, I guess, is another thing. That in the follow-up, if you had an appointment at 10 o'clock, you got here, you went in at 10 o'clock, and the nurses were great. The scheduling people were great. I can't remember the name. It was either Holly or Heidi was the girl who would take my cast off and clean the incisions and whatnot. She was awesome. And Dr. Mates would answer any questions. You could call if you had a question. I never did, but it was always an open door. And if you needed to see him, he was always available. And if not, somebody else would be here. So the doctor himself is tremendous. I mean, I would recommend him to anybody. Changed my life without question. When you can't do things, and again, in my world, not being able to do certain things physically was depressing. And after I had this done, quite frankly, it exceeded my expectations, because I can not only do the things I wanted to do, it's painless. It's like it never happened. You know, it's like I'm back to normal. I'm back to being myself and enjoying the things that I enjoy. And let's face it, at our age, there's not too much to enjoy. So you gotta pick out a few things and do them. And now I can do those things again, so that's awesome, yeah.